Hey, welcome into the Big Ten Huddle. I'm your host, JR, and we are talking Big Ten power rankings tonight, going live at 2 a.m. Eastern Time as the Washington and Colorado State game is finishing up. Colorado State gave Washington a bit of a scare in this one, and I got my specs on tonight because after a while, the contacts just start to dry out. So this is me giving you my best combination of me and Zach tonight, right? Got the Zach specs on, so so we're making it work tonight. So not gonna take a super long time talking about this, but just want to get the power rankings for the Big Ten following Week 1 out there. A little bit of movement here and there. I'll explain kind of how teams moved, what happened, what impressed me, what didn't, and we'll go from there. These are by no means locked in stone. I mean, we saw some of these Big Ten teams face FCS opponents, and we saw some of them face SEC opponents that were ranked number 1 in the country. Obviously not anymore. However, that's just kind of where the Big Ten was at in Week 1. So, like I said, we're not going to spend a ton of time on this. I don't even know if I'll go past 15, 20 minutes in this episode, but if you guys are in the chat, I'll chat with you and we'll see what happens. So let's start with number 1, and that's Ohio State. Ohio State is the undisputed number 1 team in the Big Ten power rankings. If anybody else says anything different, they are either bias or lying or I mean there's something that's going on. They just beat the number 1 team in the country, albeit at home, sure, but they just beat the number 1 team in the country that everybody was picking against them. Everybody thought Texas was going to win this game, and they ultimately did not. Ohio State comes out with the win in this one. Very, very conservative game from Ryan Day and Ohio State. Not something that you would typically expect from a Ryan Day team, but this is kind of what Ryan Day has become over the past few years. The Penn State guy says, morning fellow 9 hours, morning Penn State guy. Appreciate you being here. But that's the thing, right? Ryan Day is kind of changing up the way he's doing things. So I think when you get the number 1 win or the win against the number 1 team in the nation, you got to be number 1 in power rankings. It's no issue with Penn State. Penn State's just got a schedule right now where they're not going to really face anybody of note or of challenge until, week 4, week 5 when they face Oregon, and that's going to be one heck of a game. Can't wait to see that one. Which brings me to Penn State. Excellent performance today. Drew Aller looked on point. This is one of the games, unfortunately, I didn't get to see a ton of. I'll do some more research tomorrow before we do the Week 1 reactions episode. With 18 Big Ten teams, you're playing 18 games in the Big Ten. It's hard to catch all of them on Saturday. But Penn State rolls against Nevada. There was never really a question. Drew Aller played well. The receivers, they're an improvement over last year. I think I saw a stat that they had more receptions in this one game, the wide receivers did, than they did all of last season. In the game last season with the most receptions was Kent State. So albeit it's Nevada, it's not like it's a powerhouse or anything like that, but still, the receivers obviously looking like an improvement. The offensive line looks good. The defense held Nevada for most of the game until there at the end when Nevada scored, but of course that was, not really Penn State playing at that time. Oregon, Dante Moore, holy cow, dude. Dante Moore looked fantastic. Kenyon Sadiq, Decorian Moore had that hurdle. Fantastic game from Oregon. It's an FCS opponent, but that is one of the better FCS opponents in the nation. And we had our questions going into the game with what's going to happen with Dante Moore, Austin Novosad. From what I saw in this game, again, it wasn't all of it just because it wasn't one of the more interesting games. It's against an FCS opponent, but from what I saw of it, Dante Moore looked fantastic. The defense looked, tough, rough, everything you'd expect from the Oregon defense, and you love to see it. So Illinois comes in at number 4, absolutely crushes Western Illinois, running on the ground, throwing it through the air, whatever they get the ball, you name it, they're going to score some way, shape, or form. So Illinois, not really much more to say there. They killed an FCS team, and it's kind of the same thing with the next one. So the Penn State guys coming in saying Harrison Wallace had 5 receptions, 130 yards for Ole Miss tonight. He was Penn State's number 1 receiver last season. Amazing what throwing downfield to wide receivers instead of 10 yards to Tyler Warren all game will do. That's what we've talked about here on here more often than not, right? When it comes to Penn State and Drew Aller, are you going to shell up and just throw to your checkdowns, your tight ends, and your running backs all game, or are you going to actually let it loose, but not let it loose in a way where you telegraph those passes? We'll see what happens with Drew Aller this year, but so far so good. But I mean, he's also looked this way against other bad teams before, so we'll see what happens. I like what we saw this game. We're just going to have to see it in a big game, right? When Oregon comes to town, that's when we're going to have to see it. And, it looks like it's going to be a really good QB duel because, like I said, Dante Moore looked really good today, too. Another guy who looked really good was Jada Maava, 15 of 18. What did he have? 200 and let me pull up my stats here. Jada Maava had 295 yards, 2 touchdowns passing in this one. I mean, it's Missouri State. It's an FCS team. I did move USC up a little bit just because in a week one where teams really kind of struggled to score against lesser opponents, USC just went out there and absolutely throttled all these other, this team. So Oregon went out and throttled them. Illinois went out and throttled their FCS team. USC went out and throttled their FCS team. Fine by me. I'll move you up in the rankings a little bit. Number 6, this is where I have Michigan. So Michigan had a little bit of a weird game, right? They get out 14-0. New Mexico comes down the field, scores on that weird trick play, and then after that, Michigan fumbles the kick return, and then they get the ball back. Credit to Michigan's defense, obviously. They held them, but then they hit the field goal, and then it's 17-10. Bryce Underwood, after 2 negative plays, throws a dart over the middle to his receiver, and that is the Bryce Underwood effect. Last year with Davis Warren, this would have been a game where they were limping to the end, but Michigan comes out in this one, dominates Bryce Underwood. If it wasn't for New Mexico scoring again, making it a little bit closer, I mean, I'm kind of nitpicking here a little bit. Michigan won this one 34-17, but if it wasn't for that, I probably would keep Michigan above USC. But I mean, here we're making everything so minute and small at this point, right? Michigan, good win over New Mexico, but at the end of the day, New Mexico had the second most new players on a team of anybody in the country. I think they had 75 brand new players on their team compared to, I think the team with the most they said was West Virginia, who had 81 new players on their team. So this New Mexico team, yeah, they had some juice. They had the coach from Idaho last year that gave it to Oregon for most of the game, but still, they're coming into the big house. They're coming from New Mexico. I would have expected Michigan to dominate a little bit more. However, they're still 6 in the power rankings. They'll easily move up into the top 4 with a win over Oklahoma this next week. Indiana at number 7. Weird game for Indiana. I honestly, when I picked Indiana to win 45-14, I immediately regretted it after that episode. I said to myself, I don't think I had a very good pick there because I remembered the Florida International game last year where they only won 71-7. Now, they came out firing a little bit better in that game. It wasn't quite this one, but Fernando Mendoza overthrowing guys, better mobility than Curtis Rourke, no doubt. Had a rushing touchdown in this game, but overthrowing guys a little bit. I'm not too concerned about it. I'm also not going to, just keep them up there, when other teams played better, quite frankly. But Kirk Cinetti, he's going to get these guys together. They've got 2 more cupcakes, and then, you got week 4. Go out there week 4, beat Illinois, and if you do that, you either be top 4, top 5, somewhere in that range. It just kind of depends what happens with everybody else. So, Indiana, you want to be in the top 4. You want to be up there in the Tier 1 category. Go beat Illinois, and you'll be considered for that, no doubt. Number 8, I have Nebraska. Nebraska, talked about them on the Thursday night stream, so not going to go too in-depth on them. But essentially, I like Nebraska's growth. I like that Nebraska won a close game. However, Dylan Raiola still has some things to work out. He is kind of stuck in Drew Aller a little bit with not throwing the ball down the field. But, they also were just preventing it the entire game. I mean, I talked about it, the zone coverage and then playing guys over the top the entire game. It was really impactful of Raiola, and he was taking what they were giving him. They were making him move the ball slowly, methodically down the field, and that's what Nebraska did. So I'm not going to overreact to Nebraska, win against Cincinnati. Cincinnati's not a very good Big 12 team, in my opinion. So you got a 3-point win over them, neutral field. going to give you credit for it. You're going to be in the top half, but I'm not going to, I'm not going to jump for joy and act like this was the best win ever. Improvement for Nebraska, but still got more to prove, in my opinion. And I don't think many Nebraska fans are going to disagree with me. I think they're going to say the same things, I mean, and look at what happened last year with Nebraska, right? Beat Colorado, a Colorado team that I think has more talent than the Cincinnati team, and then they go from there and start losing after that game. So, well, it wasn't immediately. I forget when that game was. Anyway, it's not important. But point is, they were like 3-0 at one point after that Colorado win, and they finished the season 6-6, win their bowl game, go 7-6. So, I'm not going to overreact to a Big 12 win. Okay. Next, I have at number 9, Minnesota. So I have Minnesota here. I liked what Drake Lindsey did. I liked his progressions, how he moved, how he continued to navigate, how he got better. I like Darius Taylor. They obviously have their elite running back, their go-to guy there on offense. I enjoy that. I'm all for that. Next, after that, I have Washington. Now, Washington got into a bit of a issue with Colorado State. Now, this is one of the more perplexing ones to me because I don't know how good Colorado State is. Colorado State seems like a good team to me. So I want to give Washington credit, but at the same time, this is a G5 team. I mean, Mountain West, I guess, but still, this is a G5 team that you are going up against, and quite honestly, I felt like they should have been beaten better at halftime. I think they were tied at halftime, but they should have been beating better, in my opinion. So I'm going to give them credit. I'm going to, obviously not drop them or anything like that, but at the same time, yeah, they were tied at halftime, 14-14. So I'm not going to, do anything terrible with them, but, it is what it is. So defense for Washington has to get better, more consistency, but they're winning right now 38-21, and the clock's running out. So they're going to win this game 38-21. Dave says Minnesota's defense is still really good. Yeah. I meant to mention that as well. Thank you, Dave, for bringing that up. Yeah. In addition to Drake Lindsey and Darius Taylor and everything, the 10 points, I mean, Kerry Brown fell down on that one, coverage, which was a good route by the receiver, the Buffalo receiver. I think his name was Victor Snow. That was a good route, and it's unfortunate, but I'm not going to overreact to one pass play that pretty much gets them a touchdown on that one. Shouldn't have let it up, but yeah, it was still a really good defensive day for Minnesota in that one. We'll see if he can carry over as they keep going. All right, number 11, I have Iowa, and I know the Iowa fans aren't going to like this one, but I was not super impressed by Mark Gronowski in this game. Now, I need to go back and finish watching all of it. I didn't see all of the game. I saw bits and pieces here and there when I turned it on in between other games, but I was not super impressed with Mark Gronowski in this one. I felt like the offense could have been better throughout the game. They were winning by, 10 at halftime, I think it was. But still, overall, just a slow game for Iowa. I get it. Reese Vanderzee is out right now. Maybe that affected things more than we would have thought, but this is still a situation where I think mixed up now. It's still a situation where I think Iowa could have beat them better and shown a whole lot more improvement as a team. Unfortunately, they didn't do so, so I'm going to keep Iowa down there at number 11. However, this is a weird situation where like 11 through probably 8, I would say, it can all change next week. I would say my tiers right now are 1, 2, 3, Ohio State, Penn State, Oregon in tier 1. 4, 5, 6, 7, Tier 2, Illinois, USC, Michigan, Indiana. Tier 3, 8, 9, 10, 11, Nebraska, Minnesota, Washington, Iowa. And then Tier 4, I'd probably have Michigan State, Wisconsin, Maryland. I'd probably have Rutgers there as well. And then bottom tier, UCLA, Purdue, Northwestern. So that gives you an idea of where everything else is. So, Hooligan, thanks for sharing the stream. Appreciate it. He says, good evening from Washington campus in Seattle. JR, yeah, you guys are still evening. You're not morning yet. You're on the East Coast. It's a 2:30 a.m. We're in the morning now. I got to get my coffee. So that's the fun part about doing this show with the with all the stuff. So, yeah, I fully acknowledge I wanted to put Washington higher here. I honestly wanted to put Washington above Nebraska, but like I said, it's so interesting to try and figure out some of these G5 teams early in the season. Because like I said, I do think Colorado State's a good G5 team, but at the same time, Minnesota also beat their G5 team better. I don't know. It's such a crazy time trying to figure out this stuff. We'll know more as we go and once they play big games, but for now, that's where we're at. Michigan State looked really improved on offense. Aiden Childs, I mean, they had a much better running game against Western Michigan, it looked like. I mean, they came out and got a big lead on them quick. I think a 3-score lead quick on Western Michigan, but then they just kind of flattened out. Didn't really do much from there after that. So I'm not going to jump Michigan State all that much higher. Who knows what they would have done against an Albany or something like that Iowa faced, but we'll see where they go from there. So Hooligan says no, or nah, not with the coverage errors and some old stupid mistakes from last year showing up again. Yeah. I mean, we'll see. There's always a time for improvement, and it's week 1, so. Yeah, I mean, I just didn't see anything super worth putting up for. I mean, Damon Williams is still, I mean, he's a fantastic talent. He just has to be, better here and there. And then Jonah Williams, I was impressed by Jonah Williams in this game, or Jonah Coleman. Jonah Williams, Damon Williams and Jonah Coleman put together. So, yeah, Hooligan says we got it correct. All right, appreciate that, Hooligan. You're awesome. All right. And let's see, I have 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Number 13, I got Wisconsin. I can't see the numbers on my screen, guys. Sorry. Number 13, I have Wisconsin. Got them there. I mean, Wisconsin is another one. They were only up 3-0, but they had a backup quarterback in. But then they shut out, they shut them out, Miami. And Miami is supposed to be a good team this season, but it's also the MAC. So, again, another one, weird, kind of crazy, but overall, I'm just going to kind of keep Wisconsin kind of where I had them. We got David Greenshield here saying, go Buckeyes, OSU defense. Yeah, man, the OSU defense rocked Texas today. Had some help with some bad throws by Arch Manning. Do need to recognize that, but yeah, so. Max says, wow, late night. Indiana was awful at red zone offense today, and those 2 QB sneaks. Paul Feinbaum hopefully loses his mind with Texas and Alabama tomorrow. Hopefully. Let's all hope so. That'd be fantastic. Yeah, weird day for Indiana, but like I said, we saw this last year at Florida International, right? Like it wasn't this bad, but you also got a brand new quarterback in Fernando Mendoza. He's got more mobility than Curtis Rourke. He was kind of overthrowing guys today, but we'll see. So, hey, Larry coming in with the hot take says Malik Washington better than Bryce Underwood. I don't know if I can get with you on that one, Larry. Bryce Underwood made some really good throws today. Now, I did not catch every single play of the Maryland game. I'll be totally honest. So I need to go back and watch that tomorrow. Let me come back tomorrow on the next show and update that opinion. But Bryce Underwood looked he made some really good throws tonight. His receivers still need some work in different areas, but yeah. All right, bottom of the barrel here, we've got, what is that, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I do have Maryland 14th, so I liked, from what I saw with Maryland today, like I said, I didn't catch every single play of the Maryland game, unfortunately, but from what I did see, I mean, they blew up there in the second quarter, 20-plus points there. Malik Washington obviously was the correct choice from everything I saw, and this is what you've come to know with Maryland, right? The best thing that I saw was the defense in this game for Maryland, holding Florida Atlantic to only 7 points, playing good defense, playing fast, playing physical, it looked like to me, and I liked having them there. So I moved Maryland up. They were in my bottom bottom 3. I had them right above Northwestern, so moved them up 2 spots over Rutgers. Yikes. Not the best day for Rutgers. So they played Ohio well. We talked about it on the Thursday recap. They played Ohio well, but Greg Schiano is continuing to do this, sit on it, lead type of stuff. And I just don't think you can do that with this Rutgers defense this year. So if Greg Schiano changes it up and he starts just blowing out teams with his quarterback and his receivers and everything, I'm good with it. But, until then, I need to see it. So Dave said, "Is Cal really good, or Oregon State, or is Oregon State really bad?" I'll be honest, I did not catch any of Cal or Oregon State. I think Cal's probably the worst Power Four team in all of college football this year. So if that tells you anywhere where I'm at, I mean, it hurts my heart as an Ohio State fan that Devin Brown isn't starting there, but it is what it is. So kind of sucks for him, but they're starting the freshman quarterback and they want to get him time. I get it. The Penn State guy says Underwood's the best QB prospect I've seen in a long time. Has no real weakness. C.J. Stroud, arm talent, and Cam Newton, running ability. Yeah, I mean, it was against New Mexico today. We'll see what it looks like later on. But I was really, really impressed with some of the high-level throws that he was making, the zip he had on some of those balls. His scrambling ability is really good. Unfortunately, Evan Link got beat a few times in the game, which kind of threw him off rhythm a little bit. But overall, I mean, we're going to see some really spectacular things from Bryce Underwood in his career. And Michigan better not waste him if they if they want to really, really win, they're going to need to embrace Bryce Underwood and really make that happen. So, Trojan Fight said, JR, what's happening? What's happening, Trojan Fight? Appreciate you being here. Hooligan says Stanford would like a word. Yeah, Stanford, they're up there too. We'll need to see Stanford and Cal. Do they play this season? I mean, they have to play this season. They're the two Pacific Coast teams in the ACC. So, Trojan Fight says, didn't see the game, but I hear Michigan fans complaining about him. It was still heavy run game, ? Yeah, I mean, they focused a lot on the run. They kind of opened it up a little bit there and at the end of the second quarter and then the beginning of the third quarter a little bit. But the biggest thing they're upset about is that targeting call on Jayshon Barham, which, I mean, I hate targeting too, but by the letter of the law, he made helmet-to-helmet contact. So you can't really complain about the call with the way it's worded, but, is what it is. Dave says Cal won the game 34-15. Good for Cal. So maybe they're not as bad as I think they are, but it's also Oregon State, right? Like, Oregon's gonna demolish Oregon State this year, or at least they should. So yeah, maybe Hooligan's right. It's Stanford, worst team in college football. Trojan Fight says just basing off the box score with 3 rushing TDs. Yeah, I mean they were more balanced in this game. I wouldn't say that they were like run heavy, but they still are definitely a team that's going to rely on the run more than anything else. I don't think they want to completely go to Bryce Underwood yet, just because that's a lot of pressure on him and putting on him. But who knows? We'll see. We'll learn a lot more in the Oklahoma game. This was just a game where they were just trying to get out of it pretty much. So, all right. UCLA, tough game for UCLA. I would like to say I wasn't surprised, but unfortunately, this is just kind of. I mean, this is just kind of where UCLA is at right now. They never. I don't want to say they never gave up, but I mean they had a lot of fight in them. And Nico Iamaleava, he was working hard. But I don't have much more redeemable to say about UCLA. I feel like I'm being nice here, putting them above Purdue, who won 31-0 against Ball State. So great job by Purdue. Maybe Barry Odom's got something cooking there. Maybe they're going to go to a bowl game. Maybe Dylan was right in his bold prediction. But yeah, UCLA did not look great. And some of that was probably, you can't stop me, says Utah looked impressive against UCLA. Maybe some of that's just Utah. Maybe some of that is just Utah being good. And that's one of the reasons why I didn't drop UCLA below Purdue, is because maybe Utah's just the best Big 12 team out there, right? And you get blown out. It sucks. First game. They also struggled first game last year. And then they won 5 games with a really tough schedule. Who knows? But I'm not super confident in this UCLA team. I mean, I only picked them to win 3 games in the Big Ten. So, like in their entire season, not just like 3 Big Ten wins the entire season. So, Trojan Fight is Northwestern that bad. Preston Stone's that bad. Yeah, 4 interceptions today for Preston Stone. It was ugly for Northwestern. I can read you the stats here. Yeah, Preston Stone, 19 of 36, 161 yards, 4 interceptions, a 9 QBR. 9. That's awful. Yeah, I mean, Griffin Wild did have 6 receptions for 64 yards. I mean, that good, I guess, but yeah, not a great day for Northwestern. They had a lot of tackles in the game, but Aiden Hubbard did get a sack in the game. But overall, I mean, Retzlaff was running all over him. He had over 100 yards rushing, 152 yards and a touchdown throwing the ball. But yeah, he ran all over him. 10 carries, 113 yards, one touchdown. Anything nice I said about Northwestern, I would like to not say anymore. I'd like to take it. I would like to take it back and not say anything nice about Northwestern. I'm kidding. I would like Northwestern to show they have a good defense, but I just do not believe in Zach Lujan. I think he needs to be fired. And if David Braun is smart, he'll fire him before they fire David Braun. So, Trojan Fight said I didn't see them get blown out by Tulane. Yeah, I mean they got blown out early, and then Tulane just kind of took their gas off their foot off the pedal. So. Larry says Utah is a future Big Ten team. Yeah, maybe. I mean, if they're going to go back over there to the West Coast, it would make sense. I feel like they're going to probably focus more on the ACC teams first, but I mean, if they're going to expand past 20, probably because they need more teams out there on the West Coast, and they don't want to do any more California teams, I don't think. And Utah, the football talent in the state of Utah is improving. I mean, you got more and more people moving to Utah from California, and it's just improving the talent out there. So who knows? Maybe. Dave said, to be fair to Northwestern, Tulane is really good. We think they are. I picked them to make the playoffs. We think they are. We'll see what they look like against against Ole Miss. But yeah. Penn State guy says Utah is the best O-line of any team this year. Yeah, I heard that. I mean, they have really good tackles, but I just find it hard to believe the best offensive line in college football is in the Big 12. Like, sorry, Big 12. I'm not trying to disparage you here, but I'm looking at O-lines like Penn State, Oregon, I mean, Ohio State today. They manhandled Texas's defensive line, not the entire game, but for parts of the game. You got Iowa, Michigan, like, I heard that as well, and that sounded like a little bit of beefing up the Big 12 to me, and it was like, all right. All right. Well, that's those are the power rankings. We can talk about some of you guys' chats here for a few minutes, and then I'm gonna get to bed. I'm tired. Max says, can't believe all the folks who had Boise State over Tulane in the playoff spot. Ginty carried that team literally. Now everyone knows it. Yeah, I was not high on Boise State this year. I didn't have them ranked. I did not think about ranking them. Honestly, I don't even like to rank any G5 teams normally because I think the G5, it's so hard to understand what you have year to year with the amount of new players you get and everything. I really, the only reason I believed in Tulane the most was because of John Summerall. Now, John Summerall is going to be coaching the SEC next year. He's going to go to Kentucky or Arkansas or something like that, which Arkansas, man, they almost had they were close to Alabama A&M for a point today. They eventually blew them out, but yeah. Trojan Fight says, realignment is more of a multi-sport thing, though. They wouldn't add Utah solely for just football. I mean, the money is in football, though, right? Like, you add a team to get them in for your football contract and everything else. I mean, basketball here and there a little bit, but I mean, more than anything, the driving factor on this stuff is your TV contract for football and how much money that makes for everybody else. So, I mean, they're not going to add a team just like they're not going to add Gonzaga or something like that, but yeah, I mean, it's mostly football. I'm not going to say it's all football, but to me, it seems like it's mostly football. Max says Alabama's O-line looked awful, and those 330-pound dudes. Yeah, I mean, I've been saying it about Alabama. Zach went out and took the pick and called him for the upset, which I wasn't going to do, but he did. I'm glad he did because it makes him look a whole lot smarter. But yeah, Kalen DeBoer, I don't trust him with a defense. This was going to be a defensive-led team. That's where all the talent is for this Alabama team, on defense, and that's not that is not his specialty. So yeah. Hooligan says it's the right word for DeBoer. What are you saying? Schadenfreude? DeBoer, shade and fraud, shot and fraud. Yeah, he's a fraud. All right. Yeah, I don't believe in DeBoer. I've seen enough. I don't think he's the guy at Alabama. So maybe I'm overreacting after week 1, but don't see him. Larry says Utah brings more than just football. AAU school, new market, and fastest growing state, fills out the map in the West Coast, etc. Yeah, I mean the academics is probably one of the next biggest things after football. And they are AAU. I always forget about the AAU of Utah. Did they recently become AAU? Because I literally always forget about it. But yeah, you're right, Larry. They bring more than that. Dave says congratulations to Coach Drink from Central Michigan. Got his first ever win in Division I football Friday, beating San Jose State. Congrats, Central Michigan. Don't pay people to come look at signs. We won't have any more drama. But yeah, congrats to Central Michigan. I'm curious what's going to happen with the Central Michigan State game next year, because Michigan State fans do not want that game to happen. And I don't blame them. I get it. But it's kind of an interesting situation. So, Trojan Fight says, I don't understand all that. I thought I heard Utah wasn't an AAU school. When I looked them up on the website, they are an AAU school. So, their name's on the website, unless they forgot to take it off. Their name's on the website. So, all right, guys. Thanks for being here. Thanks for filling in the chat here in a late night power ranking stream. Gonna do these if I'm awake on the nights, so appreciate you being here. And might have Zach on with me sometimes, or Jeff, or other people. But had Kent on with me last year. He might come on a few times, but that's casual Big Ten. If you guys don't know. He's also got a family and kids, really busy and stuff like that now. So appreciate you all being here, and we'll see you tomorrow night. Me and Zach, we're going to give our takeaways, hype or panic for all the takeaways, and go from there. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.